Oh, off that motherfucker, man. Okay. Oh, he got my fault. So what we talking about? Whatever. So we deleted it on Facebook. We started doing right. We deleted it on Facebook. We started doing right.
Nah, it just ain't gonna go through.
Oh, okay.
I should let you pull up something. Pull up our old video. Pull up our old video.
Do a review on it and talk about it, or do you want to talk about conscious parents in the community?
Damn, I'm scared of Umar, bro.
Hey, nobody wants to fuck with Umar. He's a gay. That's when we talk about gatekeepers in the conscious community.
I don't want to smoke with Umar.
Ask that, and I'm gonna break it down to him.
All right, so yeah, you got King Narmer in the house tonight.
Where's the screen?
Is this true?
I see the screen. Cause I want to see people. Cause I want to see people commenting. So now I can answer questions for them.
Just flow. I'm telling you, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First and foremost, let's talk about magic and the occult.
You gotta get them on the watch back.
Peace, peace, family. Peace, peace.
Yeah, King Narmer. Introduce yourself, man.
King Narmer. I ain't been on in a minute, family, but I'm still here. Been doing a lot of spiritual working, and whatnot. As you advance in progress, you get different initiations, you get different degrees, you go through different experiences and gain that wisdom. But today I want to speak about magic and the occult. So, ask away on your questions, But I kind of want to start with Aleister Crowley. I mean, we can speak on many different topics, but I kind of want to speak a little bit on Aleister Crowley. And then once I speak on him, you could ask me certain questions about his influence on the occult, occult magic.
Yeah, give me some connections from with Aleister Crowley.
Okay, Aleister Crowley. He's one of the members of the Golden Dawn, of the OTO, High Ceremonial Magic, a high-ranking Freemason. One point in time when he started out, he was a very balanced individual, a very balanced occultist. He's written many books. The Kabbalistic Teachings of Aleister Crowley 777, the Esoteric Writings of Thoth or Tahuti, because he is an adept in Kemetic science or Egyptology. But like with all these occultists, their ego becomes them. So at one point in time, Crowley started having a whole bunch of parties and having a lot of sex with men and women. He was doing a lot of sex magic, and became very ill. And in his later days, he was a very bitter person. And basically, what he did was he opened up a portal or dimension inside of his mansion, to where when he died, he kind of left that portal open. And a rock band tried to come in later, and basically, it was one of the rock band's members. I can't think of the rock band, but he bought the mansion, and he felt the energy in there, and he basically never really like fully moved in. And in the end, the house just burned down because of the malevolent energy. So it kind of is. So like sometimes when you do these high ceremonial magical workings or deal with dark energy, you might unlock a portal to where only if you have the combination like he did, only you can close it. So it's one of the things that the best thing they ever did was really burn the mansion down, or let it catch on fire and burn down. But I want to speak on Aleister Crowley because a lot of people who study witchcraft study the old ways or the old religion. And so witchcraft can go back to the Anunnaki, the Egyptians or the Kemites, uh, the Greeks, the Mayans, the Aztecs, Native American, all doing all they like they were all doing like doing some type of nature magic. Um, but in dealing with Wicca is a more soft approach to more of a generic word for witchcraft, and it's more acceptable to the public. But Wicca is no more than 100 years old. It started in like 1959 to 1961 with a gentleman by the name of Gerald Gardner. And this is funny why I speak on this, because Gerald Gardner got all of his philosophy and thoughts from how from Aleister Crowley.
Mm.
So a lot of people don't know that what they study in Wicca is based off Aleister Crowley, which is not a bad thing, because people always get confused when he says "do without will," but they forget the other half of that in paganism is "do without will as long as you harm none," and that's the law. So always remember the whole quote. And not that Aleister Crowley was a bad person all of his life. He despised Christianity, but he had his reasons, because if you're a pagan, you understand how religion has mentally fucked our people. So in that sense, I understand why he could have been against religion, especially Christianity, because Christianity, just as long like just like Islamism, or when it was Mohammedanism, was inspired through politics, and it became a powerful religion through violence. Islamism enslaved us for over 700 to 800 years, and Christianity enslaved us for 400 to 600 years. So a lot of people forget about the Christian Crusades. They forget about King James and the 5 books of demonology that he wrote, with the killing of witches and fairies and things of that nature. A lot of people forget about the witch hunts and the era of when the witches Bible came out, that was invented by 2 Dominican monks, that basically gave people a guide on how to hunt and kill witches. Which in reality, a lot of these people and women weren't really witches. They were astrologers and people who were in tune with nature. But if anybody had any type of science back then, they considered you a witch. But let's get to it. That's kind of the intro right there. Let's get to it.
What's up with the Salem witches? Is that was that?
That's a part of it too. But the thing is, the numbers changed. So since then, the numbers have went up, because even in Africa, there was killing of witches. The Salem trials.
Yeah.
In Europe, there were a lot of killing of witches. And back then, a lot of people don't know that monks could marry and the priests could marry. But the problem was, if the priests or the monks would die, especially the priests, um, their wife would end up inheriting the land. So a way to get back the land, they would accuse them of being witches. Oh, the politics was tough back then.
Yeah.
But I don't want to speak on Aleister Crowley. Crowley. There's a lot to deal with in the occult. We can talk about the Kabbalah. We can talk about the Baphomet.
Who fucked up Aleister Crowley about the Kabbalah? How do you know find out about it?
That's a good question.
Because he had to learn it from somebody.
You know, every master was once a student.
Yeah.
But him with a certain group of other high-ranking Masons helped form the Golden Dawn, the OTO, and all of the higher Masonic occult, initiations. Even with the Gnostic teachings, Gnostic simply means, whenever you're dealing with Gnosticism, it simply means initiate occult level of science. You know,
Yeah.
So like even in West Africa and East Africa, in West Africa you have the Mami Wata system dealing with the original voodoo, dealing with the Dahomey people, and then in Yoruba land you have the Orishas.
Right.
So in East Africa, along the Mediterranean, you have the Kemites or the Egyptians. You have the Ethiopians. A lot of people put so much emphasis on Egypt or Kemet, and they forget about Ethiopia having some of the oldest Coptic churches in the world with the swastika. You know, 360 degrees of knowledge, 90 degrees every angle. Facing west for consciousness and east for unconsciousness. In even in Kush, you have over over 223 pyramids, which is twice the amount of pyramids in Kemet or in Egypt. So, there's a lot of knowledge everywhere, just that Kemet or Egypt was the most prosperous or highest at that time. But I mean, there's so many different mystery schools around the world, but a lot of these ancient cults or cultures or spiritual religious systems all were connected. Everything's connected in the universe. They might
Right.
call it a different name, but it's all the same in principle because it's all paganism. It's nature based. Paganism is the big tree of everything, and under paganism, you have all the branches. You have voodoo, voodoo. You have witchcraft with your um, druids. Um, you have your Asatru, you have witches. Shamans are kind of along the line, but in witchcraft, we teach that shamans and witches are not one and the same because shamans do most of their magic in the astral realm. As there were witches, we draw from every source in nature, on the mundane, and in the astral as well. So that's kind of the separation. But these branches, it's kind of like Christianity. You have Christianity, but under Christianity, you have 300 branches of Christianity. You have Islamism, but under Islamism, you have 5 branches of Islam. You know, some people are Sunnis, so not everybody is of the more science Temple of America or under the five, so to speak. Dealing with Islam, so it very much differs. So even in spirituality or in paganism, that's a way to describe the many different trains of thoughts of many different people and their own thought process.
All right. So you already start going into the next question, right? Who was like the students of Aleister Crowley?
Students of Aleister Crowley, he has many of them. A lot of people have studied his philosophy, but the problem is people have a concept of thinking negative and positive in dealing with energy as good and evil. They're simply polarities. That's why in the pillars, especially in the Kabbalah, you see the dark pillar, which is the pillar of severity, and then you see the white pillar, which is the pillar of mercy. But when you study the tarot, put those two colors together, it's gray because we're all made of good and evil. That's simply your higher self and your lower self. So it's really no such thing as good or bad. It's all the prospect or the aspect of the individual. Because you can do what they call light magic, do something bad, the same way you can do what they call black magic, which doesn't exist, or working with dark energy or shadow work to do positive.
Yeah.
Same thing with angels and demons. Angels are nothing but demons with white wings, but we as humans have perceived one to be good and one to be bad. Um, but yeah, um, Gerald Gardner was one of his students, along with many others. But in dealing with Wicca, there are branches of Wicca as well. So when people say that they're Wiccan, they don't even know if they're Alexandrian, Gardnerian, or Dianic. Now, Alexandrian, Gardnerian are kind of one and the same. But dealing with Dianic, now we're dealing with matriarchy. That's dealing with simply the goddess. So now we're talking about goddess worship, no males. If you're dealing in a coven, it's usually formed up of 13. That's why 13 is a good, powerful occult number. Because in dealing with Friday the 13th, one of the biggest occult myths, or well, not so much occult myths,
It was just Friday the 13th.
it's history. But one of the biggest occult meanings behind it, attached to it, can be dealing with Henry IV, who killed the Knights Templars in order not to pay them. But dealing with the 13, you have the 13-month calendar of the Druids. If you're dealing witchcraft, and if you're a witch, which simply means a wise woman or a wise man, a man, a medicine woman, or a healer. You deal with the 13 moon cycles or the 13 moons of the year, which also connect with the feminine cycle because the moon goes on a 29.5-day cycle as well as females do. So they do not do anything to alter their period or their menstrual cycle, then they fall under the ministry, under the full moon with the flow of the moon. Because remember, we're 77% water. Our brain hosts 80% water. So safe to say that water is oxygen to the brain. The same way Dr. Phil Valentine explained it. Fish breathe water and we breathe water as well, but in a different density because that water evaporates and goes up to the heavens and comes back down in the firmament. So we breathe water as well. It's just in a different density or different form of water. You understand? Water is around us everywhere, you know, and water finds its level. Flat Earth.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's so much to talk about in the occult, and it's one of the things that I could ramble on all day. But I would like you to ask the questions, so that way I can kind of stick to,
All right,
you know.
let's keep going at the timeline here. All right.
So we can start with Anunnaki, and then go to the Egyptians or the Kemites, and then keep going down from there.
Yeah. So where you? I mean, that's where you want to start at.
Well, if we start with Anunnaki, one of the biggest backstory to the Anunnaki is that they came down to basically look for gold when and when not, which is one of the bases of alchemy, is turning metals into gold. Even though alchemy is everything, but one of the bases is turning metals into gold. And so basically, they allegedly enslaved humans, a human race, a form of human race, to basically mine the gold for them. So in that way, they can take the gold back and use it for minerals or resources, because gold has metaphysical properties. Um, Everything has metaphysical properties. Your crystals, your stones, your gemstones, things of that nature, quartz, purple amethyst, obsidian, all have metaphysical properties. Pyramids are for manifestation, but those pyramids are actually diamonds. If you pay attention, it's the as above, so below. So you do have pyramids, but at the bottom is a pyramid. And Bobby Hemmett would explain that those pyramids were also ancient airports, meaning that you could be in one pyramid in China and teleport and come out in a pyramid in Mexico, and then go to another pyramid in in Bosnia, because we built pyramids around the world. Facts. Um, but in dealing with the Anunnaki, they were a type of humanoid race or a humanoid god, god being generator, operator, destroyers, and their main purpose was to basically harvest the gold and precious minerals, because gold is a mineral. And so they enslaved, what they would say, some of the first humans, or the first entities or beings, to mine gold for them. But the funny thing is, when speaking of the Anunnaki and of that territory, all that deals with Africa. If you look at Mesopotamia and the Babylonian, dealing with Enki and Lil, Arishtagal, um, Tiamat, who was the mother of all dragons, who was the primordial mother before before the patriarchal before patriarchy took over. Um, you'll see that a lot of those inscriptions on the walls look like Africans or some type of melanated people with Africoid features, or indigenous people. You know, um, talking about the Kemetic science or the Egyptians, um, we can talk about the alchemy of Tahuti, of the indestructible tablets of Tahuti, which are over 50,000 years old, dealing with some of the most advanced spiritual systems. One thing I want people to know is that Tahuti or Hermes or Thoth did not invent writing. It was his wife, Sheshat Mayat. She invented writing along with Aset, and basically commanded Tahuti or Hermes to teach men. That's one thing that people don't know about that, because patriarchy has kind of took over and implemented their stance. As far as some of the first full calendars, when and whatnot, can be found in Kemet or Egypt. The first zodiac can be found in the temple at Dendera, the temple of Hathor in Dendera, Egypt. Um, if we're talking about some of the most complete spiritual systems in the first writings, we can talk about the Medu Neter Het Heru. We can speak on the pyramid text and the coffin text. So it's so much to speak on. And dealing with the Nile River, if you want to deal with the magical aspect, the Nile River can be attached to Nu or Noon, which is now pronounced Nun. She's basically the primordial mother, equivalent to Ra, and she's basically, the one who's blamed for the flooding of the Nile. If we're dealing with the nature of it, then Ra, grandfather, would be the sun aspect. Then you have Jeb and Neb. So then from Jeb and Neb, you get Asar, you get Aset, you get Nephthys, and you get Set, which later in religious mythology, Set becomes Setah, which becomes Satan. So Satan, Santa, Saturn, Saturno, Set are all one and the same, or similar energies, all depicted as red and black because they represent the root chakra. So when Christians rebuke Satan or Set or Setah, they're rebuking the lower selves, which is why it's an energy that doesn't work for them. But even going to the Greek mythos and to the great scholars, a lot of them studied under the Kemites or the Egyptians. They had to go to Kemet, the ones that were accepted, to learn the mysteries there. So all the Greek philosophers learned from Imhotep, learned from all the greats. Imhotep was considered the god of medicine. So even in dealing with Kemetic science, you have the pre-dynastic, you have the old kingdom, the middle kingdom, the new kingdom. It's just, man, it's just so much. We haven't even gotten to Ptolemy and Alexander the Great, so just so much. In dealing with the Greek, they call their karma as well because they got their ass whipped by little brother, the Romans. But then you even have the Hellenistic period. The Hellenistic period would consist of, let's say you were a Hellenistic Jew, you were trying to be more Greeks or out Greek the Greeks. And if you were Hellenistic Greek, you were trying to be more Egyptian or Kemetic than the same Egyptian. So by default, if you were Hellenistic in anything, you were trying to be Egyptian because once again, they had the juice at that point in time. So it kills me when they say that we have no source of writing or everything was destroyed. Bitch, what the fuck is the Library of Alexandria? You know what I mean? Where it had the most extensive advanced writing systems in the world. Do you seriously think that they burned that shit down? Man, you playing crazy. That shit is probably housed in the Vatican right now. Why would you get rid of that world history? Makes no sense. You know?
Yeah. Well then, bro. Uh, who got the power now? Who got the knowledge now?
Everybody has the power. Because even the Bible says greater power is within you than in me. So the kingdom is within us, and if you give your energy to certain things that don't serve you, then you're giving your power away. But understand what he's saying is like who has the power now, like as far as structural power, it's all broken down. You've spoken this many times, but the problem is a lot of people listen to respond and don't listen to understand. So you have Queen, you have the Vatican, that control one part of government, in these different aspects of it. And money's fake and all these things are fake and we've spoken on it. But the problem is anything you give your energy to becomes real. So within your own universe, because we all exist within our own universe,
Mm-hmm.
you make it real. If you want to talk to the occult level, we all live in our own matrix. And in our matrix, we perceive what is real and what is not. What's to say that when we're awoke, we're really asleep, and when we're asleep, we're really awoke and really manifesting and doing things on different planes of existence. Remember, you are in this world, but you're not of this world. So it even speaking on metaphysics because that deals with magic as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
magic is a form of science. That's why you have a book of shadows. You write down your spells and in your grimoires to see what you did wrong to kind of tweak it. So your correspondence is to help you raise that energy to connect to the divine at will. You know.
Yeah.
So there's many different levels of it and many different aspects of it. You have your practical magic, your sympathetic magic, your nature-based magic, your high ceremonial magic, your mental magic. It's all types of magic. Not everybody does the same thing. Kind of like your kung fu or martial artists. You know, Michael Jai White is not gonna be the same as Donnie Yen. Who's not gonna be the same as Scott Atkins. Who's not gonna be the same as Chuck Norris. Who's not gonna be the same as Louis Tang. Who's not gonna be the same as Joe Tausman. So everybody has their own way of doing things. But in the end, it's a form of energy as well. And it's another spiritual system because it deals with breathing. The etymology for spirit is breath. If you're not breathing, you're not doing nothing spiritual. Henceforth, running, exercise, yoga, martial arts deals with breathing, chi energy, uh, Taoism. You could be a breatharian and live off your sexual energy. We could talk about sexual alchemy. When you have semen retention, he's Khufu spoken on this. When you retain your semen, when not in practice semen retention, you build up your masculinity. And what happens is it recycles them fluids and realizes, oh, I'm not ejaculating this energy, so now I have more light because sperm on its metaphysical and quantum properties is a form of light. They're light cells. Everything is fucking light energy. Remember that. Light. It's two parts of the equation. All life comes from the sea or from the waters. When you're in the womb, you're in water, but you have to have that light energy, which is the masculine aspect, to activate that life. See what I'm saying? They go hand to hand. That's your melanin. Melanin is what? Condensed sunlight. You get your soul from the solar system. Henceforth, while we are solar peoples and live in a solar, in a solar constellation or whatnot. But like I said, flat Earth, so it's really just all energy. And even Bobby Hemmings said the universe not what you think it is. Could looking at that CGI shit, it's just fake.
Yeah, I had the next question ready too, bro.
Holler at me.
Oh yeah, okay. How you feel about Walt Disney and like TV magic? I mean, movie magic.
Okay, well, people should know that that's a form of sigil magic. And if you didn't know, Walt Disney was the last of one of the Rosicrucians, and that's another thing. Aleister Crowley was one of them as well. And if you didn't know, Walt Disney was a powerful fucking magician. Let me tell you something. Anybody who's been in the industry over 25 years does witchcraft and magic. I did a video a long time ago on Shango equals the energy of Jay-Z, 444, and Beyonce equals the energy of Oshun, because in spiritual world can manifest into the mundane, into the physical. And they laughed at me, but then Jay-Z came out with verses and shit like, I'm a page turner, I'm a sage burner, Santeria, Shango, December baby, my Orishas, Saint Ho. The story takes place in ancient Egypt. It got quiet right there. He just let you made it be known that he's an initiate and he's a child of Shango. He was born December 4th, and Shango's feast day is December 4th. Dun, 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 dun. But when you study metaphysics, you already know these things. You seen Beyonce, you see who else? Cardi B using the energy of Oshun and Yemaya, especially when she was pregnant. She had all that yellow and all that sky blue. And plus she got a peacock tattoo. Peacocks represent Yemaya and Oshun, especially Oshun. I keep 5 peacocks on my altar. So it's like, like peacock feathers. So like, when you see all these connections, you understand the law of correspondence, you know. But yeah, like Jay-Z, he's a powerful, powerful, powerful wizard. Madonna, she's a high priestess, and is a gatekeeper. A lot of people are gatekeepers of Hollywood, and a lot of them perform sex magic. That's another aspect that y'all don't understand of why these Hollywood parties go on. You keep seeing on the lower end of it as he's having sex with a man and she's with a woman, this and that. No, 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 no. It's more powerful than that. Sex, when you having sex, it's like another portal or dimension. Have you ever been having sex for 5 minutes? Only 5 minutes, but it felt like a 30 minutes to an hour because you're in a different dimension. Think what I'm saying? If you look at the Ankh itself, the Ankh of life is basically the reproductive organs of the divine feminine. It has the yoni, it has the ovaries, and then it has the birth canal for the phallus can go in. You dig what I'm saying? Like it's all connected. So it's deep science in it. So it's the reason why we're symbolic people in certain symbols, kind of flare us up. You know what I mean? We're symbolic people. The problem is over so many reincarnations, we forget these different symbols. We might recognize them in a past life, but not in this life. And since we're speaking on the occult, you want to challenge my knowledge, then we can speak on past life regressions and and past life regressions and goddamn, it will come back to me. It'll come back to me in a minute. But past life regressions is one that's very important because then you can go into trance and kind of see bits and increments of lives that you lived before, which also can help you out with your Akashic records. But in dealing with your Akashic records, you have guardians or gatekeepers that filter the information down to you. Because in dealing with metaphysics and dealing with energy and magic, your mind can only handle so much. Feed it to them in increments. Do you remember what happened in RoboCop? When they try to give him that download, what happened? Murphy almost went berserk because it was too much. That's the reason why in some lifetimes you gotta be careful what you ask for, because you may not be ready to receive that knowledge in this life. Same thing with energy. Our bodies exist within different planes of existence. This is our lowest form of creation. This is where we're most vulnerable. If all of your energy from all the different etheric fields and planes of existence within the creation, within the universe, within the ethers, uh, your physical body will literally explode. It's too much light energy. Too much light energy.
Okay. Political magic.
Political magic. Oh, McDonald's, Wendy's. It's called the power of suggestion. Those M's represent money, so that's for sigil magic as well. And then when you add up the letters to McDonald's, you basically get the 13 powers that be.
Mhm.
When you're dealing with Wendy's, you have a little bitty mom around the collar. It looks like a little bit cute little bow tie around her neck, crinkled up. When you look at it, it says mom. So subconsciously, when the children see this emblem, or magic, if you want to call it a talisman or an amulet, because goddamn, it damn near acts as a talisman. The kids say, "Mom, I want Wendy's. Mom, I want Wendy's," because subconsciously, through the power of suggestion, we get trained. We know McDonald's is fake food. We've seen it's fake food. They've proven it's fake food. But once you see a new actor come on and say 100% beef, and they and pretend like they bite into the burger, next thing you know, everybody's back on board. Oh, okay, McDonald's cleaned it up, and that just shows you how history repeats itself. We're just like the slaughter. We go with everything that we see. Don't challenge anything. Ask any question and say it's okay. That's horrible. You should challenge and question everything. You know, don't always just believe, because in the word believe you have the word lie, and the word believe is derived from the word belie. So if you're gonna believe in something, know what you believe and why you believe it. You know. But as far as political magic, oh yeah, most definitely. If five entities or five parasites own allegedly everything that we see on television, because they wanted you to see it. You saw Rodney King get beat, but did you see Rodney King get beat? I didn't literally see his face. And where are the other two people at? You just saw a motherfucker get beat up in the middle of the streets, and through your emotions, we all got the uproar and got upset without fully analyzing the video. Same thing with Osama bin Laden getting thrown in the Dead Sea. Nobody saw his face. You saw an individual with a bag over the head getting dropped. That could have been a fucking dummy.
We just told you we did the shit.
You have to understand is that the world is a big stage. If I wanted you to see it, because I wanted you to see it. Certain things I can't speak on because we'll get a red flag and take it down. So I gotta kind of dummy it down. But I'm doing the cloaking spell right now, so the magic kind of like pushes the what I'm saying, the spirit is backing me up, pushing them away. You know what I mean? I kind of do the Bobby Hemming thing. The only thing is I didn't pour libations and call in the spirits, but I already know that they're here with us, so we good. Because when I'm talking about the cult and magic, you got to have spirits that's on your team that can really help you out with some things. Um, but since we're talking to cult and magic, do you want to talk about certain deities and entities for certain things, like for court cases or shit like that, or do you want to still talk about the wider scope of different societies? As far as the Aztecs, the Mayan, and things of that nature, Native American, how they used sage way before sage was put in Walmart.
Yeah. Connecting for me.
Because I mean, as you see now, paganism is getting so big that I went to a Walmart and now they're selling sage bundles. Now they're selling Palo Santos and everything. And low key, dollar stores, WalMarts really have all type of shit for witches, like witches bottles, potions, spells, jars. Uh, if you want to do for like from like your herbs and things of that nature, like they have so many things for us. You know what I mean? Spell jars, everything. It's beautiful. Um, but yeah, I mean, even Native Americans, these are things that we've done all of our life. And if you notice, they have a feather, and almost every tribe has a certain type of feather. But if you take back to the Kemetic or to the Egyptian, that feather can be the feather of Mayat, because you see in Egyptian times, Kemetic times, she had that feather. So if you notice, that's spread out even to the Native American, you know. And when we speak on Native American, we're talking nothing. If you want to go to more science, we're talking nothing but African and Asiatic, and then later on down the line, maybe African, Mongolian, Eurasian, and lighten up a little bit. But it's funny how people say that my mama used to be mixed with Wichita or this. No, your mama was Blackfoot, not mixed, was. And this is where we get on to where Khufu explained a long time ago about slavery. They didn't take everybody from West fucking Africa. We were already here.
Oh shit.
We were here around the world. So what you have to understand is, yes, they took a certain amount of people, But you have to understand, more people probably died in them ships and jumped off because them raggedy ass ships and boats couldn't make it over here. And for even out of every 100 Africans taken, 30, 35 were sent around the stateside, and the rest of them sent to Brazil. Like over 75% of Brazil is blacker than this microphone that I'm speaking in, melanated. So we're talking about people that we gotta understand. At one point in time, the Earth was one. It's like the oldest map is a Terra map. So in any concept of matriarchy, patriarchy, those times had a concept of one land mass. So see what I'm saying? So in dealing with this, we were already everywhere cultivating. So even when it spread out, we these places that we already traveled before, we were already occupying these places. If you want to go over, who are the blonde headed people? Malaysians, they're melanated as well. But I mean, like the Philippines and stuff like that. Those are Africoids, with African features as well. If you want to go to South India, blacker than the microphone that I'm speaking on. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Dealing in West Africa in the Voodoo system, we started the chakra system with the Kundalini, Oshumarte, Oshumart. And then, from there, they carried it into India. And then in India, they translated into their system. So, everybody has their system. So, they deal with the Elan and the Pingala and the Shishumna. So, that's basically like the sign for the caduceus in the medical symbol. They're dealing with the serpents who represent wisdom and healing. And basically the Kundalini going up and coming down, spiraling at the base where it is dormant, which is why in the Bible teaches that Jesus the Christ died at the age of 33, not mentioning the 18 years that he was learning magic and doing other things in Africa and around the world, according to the literature. But there's 33 vertebrae in the spine to where Christ consciousness dwells. And Christ consciousness can be a level of consciousness, and in dealing with alchemy, it can be considered uh, a form of secretion or a fluid that forms in the membrane that goes up and down the spine, which is called the claustrum, which is another aspect of where they get Santa Claus from, going up and down the chimney. So, like I said, all this shit's connected. So, like Khufu spoke on this a long time ago. You know, Santa Claus is another aspect of Odin or Woden, because every god or goddess or energy or deity has an aspect of themselves or different personifications. So Odin has an eight-legged horse that was gifted to him by Loki. Santa Claus has 8 fucking reindeer. Santa Claus will go to the elves, so in that way, they make the presents and shit. Within the 9 realms of Asgard, Yggdrasil, Midgard, Hell, Niflheim, and dealing with the Norse, he would go to the Dark Elves to get shit made and do magic for him. So you got to see how all these things coincide. Everything's connected in paganism. And I've been studying this for damn near 7 years now. So it's a lot. So you ain't been seeing me post videos, not because I don't necessarily have any information. It's just that I've been studying so much that King Narmer really, is kind of hard. It's to do. And in this month, we're dealing with the Holy Death or the Santa Muerte. So this is her holy month, to where we venerate her, and our holy days can be the 1st and the 9th. Some people celebrate it on August 15th, but this is her month. Leo season. And dealing with the Egyptian or the Kemetic path, we're dealing with Sekhmet because she's the lioness. So man, ask some questions, ask away. I mean, this is what they want to hear. I kind of want to go to the live screen and see if anybody asks any questions, because they may have a specific question that they want answered right now and not an hour later. And if I can see the screen, I will answer it right on the spot. Or they might have a different perspective or something they want me to elaborate more on. Because I don't want to just jump around. The thing is, for me, it don't bother me because I deal with metaphysics and deal with the magic. So it's like all these correspondences connect to me.
Appreciate it.
Happy Womb Day. Ashe. Ashe. That's true. In the womb. That's true. Oh yeah, and even speaking on words being spells. Words are spells. Like when people say good morning, you don't want to say good morning. You want to change your affirmation because a prayer can be a mantra or an affirmation or words of power, your ashe. So it's like it's better to say grand risings because you're born again. When you say good morning, you're kind of celebrating a death aspect, you know, like because remember morning and morning, Morn. That's why words are spells. We've been casting spells since spelling bee and writing curses in cursive. You know, you gotta pay attention to these words. So even when you say sunset in the Kemetic pantheon, the Egyptian pantheon, this would describe Horus, who fought his uncle Set, and he lost his eye in battle, or Heru. So this would imply that Set is victorious over the night. But when the sun Ra or the sun rises, seeing the sun Ray, because Ra and Ray are two different aspects and variations of the name, or Amen or Amun, Ra, which means the hidden God or creator, the all of substance, you know, then it's kind of like the polarity, you know, night and day, you know, even with the sun and the moon, you know, you get the sun and the moon. Um, that's where you get the story of the tortoise and the hare, because the sun moves faster. So sun magic is faster than moon magic in dealing with your phases. Your new moon, first quarter, full moon, last quarter, last new moon, or should I say, your dark moon, which is the hour or the 24-hour period that you have before your new moon to do all your shadow work and all of your chaos magic and things of that nature, into your waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, because when it's waxing, it's getting bigger, until your full moon, then to your waning, it's getting smaller. So then you have your waning gibbous, your last quarter, the waning crescent. So the torus in the hair is that sun moves faster during the period of the year, but it dies down for 3 days when the sun's at its lowest point, allowing the moon to surpass it, which is the tortoise who passes the hare who takes a nap, kept BSing and stuff. So that's kind of where you get that story from, dealing with the astrology, and that's how we always explain everything through the astrology. If I were to tell you something in astrology, you wouldn't understand unless I personify it to a face or to a name. So like Orion's belt can be Asar or Osiris's belt or Odin's belt or Vishnu's belt or Brahma's belt or Obatala's belt or Quetzalcoatl, which is dragon from the dragon from the dragon from the Aztec, if I'm not mistaken, which patriarchy made it a male, but it's really female. Anything done with primordial dragon is female. Uh, uh, Even dealing with the serpents, primordial females, mothers. Um, like Erishkigal, Tiamat. It's one more. I apologize. It's not coming to me right now. But usually when the melanin flows, it's like this. When you have all this knowledge and stuff, you're not gonna remember it because I have no book and I have nothing written down for me. But once you get into your little mode and your cycle, it flows. You know what I mean?
About a full clip.
I don't play games, man. I don't play
About a
games.
full clip.
Keep
man.
asking me questions. I'm
Can't
with
keep
it.
up, man.
I'm with it.
Got number magic.
Oh, number magic? Yeah, most definitely. Like a correspondences, your days of the week. Monday is your moon day. So, but actually Sunday starts the week because Saturn is the farthest planet away, and Saturn represents the crone planet, which is the oldest planet, the mother planet. So Sunday starts the day. So Sundays when you want to do your healing rituals, when and when not. Um, Monday or Moon Day is where you want to do your shadow work, your more passive work. Tuesday is Mars Day, so that's your more aggressive work, your fire magic, things of that nature. Monday or your Moon Day can be water magic. Sunday, of course, can be fire magic or air magic. Um, Wednesday is Mercury Day, the Mercurian energy. So even when there's a Mercury retrograde, being that on the Kabbalah, that Mercury can represent Tahuti and Papa Legba, in voodoo, it's kind of like an aspect or a joke we say that it's Papa Legba just sitting back and effing everything up during the Mercury retrograde. So
Hey man, Papa Legba boy.
hey, he's that dude.
That's crazy.
You dealing with Thursday as Thor's Day or Jupiter Day. Friday is Venus Day, so that's your love spells. Uh, Thursday is Jupiter Day, that's your prosperity spells. So if you want to do like functional feng shui or feng shui, doing practical magic, you will want to set up your prosperity corner in your northwest corner of your home. So when you open your direct door, I apologize, northeast corner of your home. So it's like when you open your door, wherever that corner is to the right hand side, that would be your prosperity corner. But as far as numbers and numerology and dealing with magic and things of that nature, three represents a triple goddess and triplicities. So you have your maiden mother and crone. For the god aspect, you have the boy or the lad, the father or the warrior, and the sage. Three represents beginnings, middles, womb of life, endings. It can represent knowledge, experience, wisdom. Um, just so many different things. In your fours, and in your threes, you're dealing with like the energy of Legba. In your fours, you're dealing with Papa Shango. For your crossroads, what it would not can also be another aspect of Legba because in dealing with the Haitian voodoo and dealing with Legba, they're over they're over 21 past the Legba. They're in Haitian voodoo, they're over 21 past the Legba, but in reality there are thousands of Legbas. So in some cases, in some past of Legba, his sacred number is not three, his sacred number is four. And there's also a feminine version of Legba as well. So it's not only just male. Same thing in the Orishas. There are over 52 paths of Ishu. And in some of those paths, things vary and differ because you can't get to any Orisha or any Loa without the messenger or the gatekeeper. So you have to go through a Legba or an Ishu a Legba somewhere. So he's even in nature. Um, like in the Haitian voodoo, you have a Legba Antiban, you have Legba Piakase, which is broken foot Legba. Or if you deal with Santeria in that aspect, it could be an aspect of Lazarus, Saint Lazarus, or in voodoo, it could be um, um, the holy kid of Pradua. And then if you deal with the Orishas, it could be El Nino Santo de Atocha. So it switches up and it changes. It could be St. Peter in one aspect. So it just all differs in the aspect that in the energy you're dealing with. You're dealing with Shango and dealing with your years. Always have your calendar years because then you know what vibration of Orisha or low wa spirit that you're dealing with. If you're dealing with five, five, you have Oshun energy. But dealing with Freemasonry, out of five represents chaos, and out of chaos comes order. Um, Even in your tarot cards, a lot of those five cards are chaotic because you got to remember the tarot was written by members of the Golden Dawn who deal with the Kabbalistic teachings, the Babylonian, the Egyptian, the Kabbalah. So it has all the esoteric symbols and meanings in it. Thing is, you have to really dig deep within, and the Rider Waite is the best to start off with in any tarot deck because it has all four colors for all four elements, and it helps to open up the psyche. So in dealing with tarot, after you've done it for so long, you should have three decks. That should be a fun deck, a traditional deck, and a darker deck. Um, what else?
Shit.
About the
You got
numbers.
more?
Oh, okay. We're dealing with you're dealing with number six. That's also Sean Go because the numbers are 4 and 6. We're dealing with three. That can be Legba, Ogun, and Ochosi. Because Ogun and Ochosi can be 3 and 7. If you're dealing with seven itself, that's Yemaya. You're dealing with 8, that's Obatala. His days of the week can be Thursday, Friday, or Sunday, but technically any day of the week. But 8 for infinity. It represents the energy of Jupiter, for physical manifestations, infinite knowledge, abundance. If you're dealing with the number 9, now we're dealing with the highest number in numerology because any number after 9 therefore repeats itself. So that's dealing with Oya or Yansa. And you're dealing with Oya, 9 can also represent endings. So 9/11 can mean the ending of a old paradigm and coming into the new. Even on the death card, you'll see a 13 and dealing with the major arcana of the tarot. So depending on your train of thought, if you're dealing with the Orishas, that could be Iku and Oya. If you're dealing with Holy Death, that can be her because it has her, and she does ride on a horse, and 13 is her number. Um, if you're dealing with Voodoo, it could be the Gay Days. That can be Baron Samedi, that can be my mom Bridget, any one of the Gay Days. You know what I mean?
What's up, bro?
What's the word? What's the word? We're just over here chopping it up about the occult, but truthfully, I wanted to do like a Q&A and answer questions for people who have certain questions about paganism, spirituality, magic, voodoo, witchcraft, different spiritual paths, different trains of thought, things of that nature. Kind of, because I I ain't been doing forever. So,
I got the night off.
what I mean? So I'm trying to come back and, King Narmer showing back up for the first time in a million years. I know he dropping no videos or anything. I apologize for family. Um, if I was dropping a video this month, it'd probably be on the Holy Death because this is her month, her holy month. But I've always wanted to do a video for Oya. I want to do a video for Yemaya. Um, I was even thinking about doing a video for Erjuli Dantor because she's one of my met tests in voodoo. So you have so many different energies like Martha, the Dominator, who's a serpent spirit who goes on the floor. You have Pombahirta, who's like a female Ishu. You know what I'm saying? A female version of Lakeba. You know what I mean? So it's just so many different aspects of everything to speak on. Kabbalah, you know, dealing with each spear, which is a different aspect of creation. How Kabbalah is connected to everything, and even dealing with the Adam and Eve story. Even going to the metaphysics of the Adam and Eve story, Adam can be, if you want to go to the Egyptian, you have a tomb, first man allegedly created. So a tomb and Adam sound so much alike. Then Adam sounds like an atom, which is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, which is the carbonated making of a human being. If you're dealing with Eve, Eve can stand for evolution, which means pre, which came before it, you know. And even dealing with the tarot, you'll see a depiction of Adam and Eve, and you'll see like a burning bush or the tree of good and evil and the tree of wisdom. But in dealing with the tree of wisdom or the tree of life, that's simply the Kabbalah. See what I'm saying? And then the serpent represents wisdom and healing. The serpent told Eve to get wisdom and get the knowledge. And the serpent represents can also represent the Kundalini energy. And see, in dealing with Eve and Adam, if you're dealing with energy work, Eve can represent the Pingala. The tree can be the Shashuna for like what they have for the Caduceus, for the medical symbol, and then Adam can be the Pingala. Basically, the feminine principle goes up and manifests in the ethers. She gives out the order. Once it manifests in the ethers, then it comes down to the physical plane to where it happens in the physical. You see what I'm saying? So the woman gives the order and the male executes the order. And so basically, it's like energy because energy spirals up. So while the Ida is spiraling up, the Shashuna, the Pingala is spiraling down. And even dealing with chakras. Chakras is Sanskrit for discs or spinning wheels. All of your chakras spin. You have several main chakras that spin in opposite directions. You also have your minor and lesser chakras. So you have a chakra in each soles of your foot. They're actually one. Then you have chakras behind your knees. You have chakras behind your elbows, behind your eyes, behind your ears, which are your minor and lesser chakras. You have chakras in the tips of your finger and chakras in your hands. But in reality, chakras are energy vortex centers. So people who do Reiki healing, masseuses, energy work, or what's that when they stick the needles in you? The acupuncture.
Yeah, acupuncture.
Acupuncture pinpoints those different energy vortexes. So in reality, you have more than your transpersonal chakras that go into your fourth and fifth dimensional, or even the system that they explain that we have between 112 to 114 chakras, depending on who's the energy worker in their system it is. In reality, we have over 2,000 chakras because all of those energy vortexes where of where they do the acupuncture are chakras. So, be honest, we have over 2,000 chakras. It's the beautiful thing studying energy, and those chakras go in and out of play during our life, during during a lifespan. Animals have chakras. The earth has chakras. Anything that's melanated that lives, that's actually human, not humanoid, has chakras. And I did say humanoid because not everything is human that's walking around. You might have seen several aliens, several reptilians, and didn't even know it. Not everything is human. You got clones walking around here. It's serious. Man, we've been going for an hour. My bad.
Nah, you good, man.
What else do you want to speak on?
Shit, you done brought up the aliens and the clowns and shit now. You might as well.
Well, you want to talk about
Yeah, I don't
that?
want to know about that. I
Well,
want
if you
to
want to talk about that, if we're going to the occult, I'm going by the way of Bobby Hemmett. Um, some of the first cloning started back in Kemet or in Egypt, in the temple of Seti One, before they tore it down and re-put it back up. Um, yep, Kodak is definitely a clone. Kodak a clone. Dave Chappelle's a clone. Rick Ross a clone. Gucci definitely a clone. Hey, they messed all his tattoos up. I said, man, who's this clown right here? But as far as cloning, bro, a lot of it started in Kemet, in ancient Egypt, to where there was animal splicing and mixing DNA. And basically, it was written on the original walls in description that we made a mistake for we've invented another form of race of human being or man that's quite primitive. And even dealing with Islam aspect of um um he
You said what?
who's the dude that was cloning.
Y'all cool.
Yep, Dr. Yakub, which is Jacob in the Bible. See, even Dr. Yakub, when Bobby Hemmett speaks on it, his master teacher was in Kemet, who taught him how to do the cloning when and when not. And basically, when they found out he was doing the cloning, he got exiled from Kemet and got sent to South America. There's even a cartoon on it showing him how he made a form of, how do I want to say it, the white man. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, um, who does the cloning? Basically, you can go different places. Like in Nebraska, they have cloning. In Canada, they have clone aid. But it's so advanced now, bros, to the point where they're past the Mach 1s and Mach 2s. They're using Mach 3s now. Because if you notice, when Gucci came out, he needed a handler. If you notice, old girl had to initiate the question in order for him to answer until he finally can pick up, the pace of things. But these Mach 3s, kind of like Jay-Z, he has a Mach 3. He has a permanent clone that's over there overseas for him to keep that $200-300 million deal going on over there. So that clone can maneuver itself and do what it wants. But there's different type of clones. You have the cloning of the they even have it the sleeper cells in them bodies. So basically where they made it they have basically made inactive carbonated bodies that you can transfer your consciousness into and become that individual or person. They also have the aspects of being cloned from a baby, of taking an embryo and growing a clone. And then they also have, the aspect of the 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 robot toys. Like they're robotics, but they look so damn real, have the skin. They already have so many different responses that are already calculated that you wouldn't even know it. But as far as going back to the Egyptian aspect, the Kemites or the Egyptians started cloning and it kind of backfired on them. Dr. Yakub allegedly was cloning and got exiled out of Egypt and got sent to South America, allegedly Honduras. But then bring it back up. Now we're back to the 1930s, 1940s, where Hitler, if people didn't know, he studied in Kemet or Egypt or in Africa. He studied in Africa with a group of Aryans. That's how they learned about the swastika and about cloning and things of that nature. So in the 1930s, 1940s, they started back cloning with Hitler and the occult, but they basically perfected it in the 1950s. And that was another one of the reasons that Kennedy allegedly got killed, because he was against the cloning. But now it's such a wide thing that doesn't even matter, because don't you guys remember when they cloned that sheep? Once they show you an animal being cloned in the GMOs, so it's like at this point in time, why does it even matter? Like it's a big thing no more. Anybody can get cloned. Like all they need, when B.O.B. was speaking out on him and they thought B.O.B. was crazy, no, B.O.B. was spitting some knowledge and some science, because B.O.B. hangs out with Brother Panic, and Brother Panic is a student of Bobby Hemmett, and he's a high priest in voodoo as well. And Bobby Hemmett is definitely a cultist as well. I mean, Brother Panic is definitely a cultist. So if B.O.B. is hanging around him, birds of a feather flock together. So you best believe B.O.B. knows some witchcraft and some voodoo and understand magic and and understands sorcery.
God speak on 1684.
Okay. What happened in 1684? Enlighten me.
Shit, I don't know.
Because in 1937. In
What happened in
1937,
1684, bro?
enlighten us most definitely. I'm here to learn as well because in 1937, when Hitler was into the occult of the cloning of the angel of death experiments, he was also into the alien technology, and that was when they saw that saucer crash in what was that, Germany in like 1937. That was one of Hitler's, because a real saucer or UFO is a light beam. It cannot crash. It's pure energy. It cannot crash. You know, but we're definitely not some of the only people on here, because even certain occultists would suggest is that at one point in time in earlier days that we had like a let's definitely talk about aliens. We can talk about the grays that live underneath the earth, because Bobby Hemming did a lecture on that about people, his documented events of people seeing people just disappear and going to the ground, because they got underworld cities underneath here where the military science is about 30 years ahead of civilian science, where they got cloning centers, to where underneath here they got secret cities, cloning centers, and all types of fuckery. So we got the alienoids and we got the reptilians who need a human body to manifest in. So that's why I said that everything is not human that we see around here. A lot of these humans are not humans. Some of these people are humanoids. So dealing with these aliens, we got these grays. And dealing with alien, another word for alien can be extraterrestrial. And in the etymology of extraterrestrial can be extra terra astral. Stars are technically aliens. So if we're stardust and star children and came from either the Sirius or the Nibiru star constellation, then we're technically aliens as well. Um, but my thing is, why don't black people ever see these goddamn aliens though?
Hey, that's crazy.
That's how I want to know. I mean, because Bobby Hemming would suggest that since we're creators, they don't want to see the creators. They want to see the created. You know what I mean? But I still would like to chop it up with a goddamn alien or some type of humanoid entity, because you do, because you guys do know about because they come most evil people nowadays, but the army is the most judgmental person. He is not lying about that one. He's not lying, because actually I was in the military as well, and when I went to Afghanistan, um, we cut down opium and marijuana. But the thing is, I never saw the opium and marijuana getting burnt. And I was 19 at the time. I was naive.
Well, it got burnt.
You know what I'm
Just
saying?
that right there.
The thing is though, 90% of the world's opium comes from Afghanistan.
Just keep going. Keep going.
And 9% of the people in China smoke opium. So, using common sense, you kind of know where the opium was going. You know what I mean? And as far as politics, most definitely the U.S. Army is basically the muscle, and dealing with special forces. Now we're talking about mercenaries with specialized weapons that don't need no rank. They ain't got to shave, ain't got to do nothing. I was peeping everything out when I was over there. But basically, most of the world's 9% of the world's opium comes from Afghanistan. 9% of the people in Asia and China smoke opium. So, it's all business. It's one of the things that they have to start the war in order to come in and be the solution. So even when they put these things on television and on the TV screen, they try to start all the chaos, so then that way they can come in and be the solution. If they can't start a racial war, then we'll separate these people because of this or because of this. So no one's ever really gonna be on one accord. Nobody's will ever be on one accord. And as far as president, that's just a that's just a that's a very generic term, because we have North America, we have Central America and South America. So when we're saying president of America, North America, who's the president of South America? And let's not say that Biden is the president of Brazil. You see what I'm saying? So these words and these terms, it's all word magic, and that's more fuckery, because through word magic, they bring in what we call is literary incarnation. Through a word, I sparked something and made it real. You believe that shit because when we sign things, which are anything you sign is a document, which is a binding document.
Okay.
We give energy to that.
Yeah.
So we know that birth certificates are fake, death certificates are fake, license is fake, all that shit is fake. We know it's all a gimmick, and we're getting off the black magic and the occult because we can start talking about maritime law and different types of law, besides martial law because there's so much law. But in dealing with maritime law, man, I'm telling you, they deal with a lot of word porn.
Do you think the powers that be are using magic to against the masses of people?
Are you serious? There are pastors. You know what? Let me tell you something. There are pastors in your church that are using magic against the people and keep you under the spell of ignorance. So if people, if church pastors got witches that they use to fight off other witches that are casting spells on them because of the fuckery that they're doing and how they're pimping the people, you'll leave the powers that be ain't got the most power. Let me tell you something. When Jay-Z wants to get some powerful shit done, if he don't do it himself, I bet he goes to South Africa. South Africa, if anybody studies witchcraft and knows about the occult for real, they got some of the most powerful witchcraft in the world. They have some of the most powerful spells you could think of. They basically have some type of cure for almost every ailment except for death. They got some shit. Like, not these little low end cloaking spells that we kind of do. Cloaking spells where motherfuckers really disappearing and poof, some Magic David Copperfield shit coming out the other side, slicing you in the neck type shit. That's why a lot of them not allowed over here. Because a lot of them could do a cloaking spell at 12 midnight, go into a bank, wipe it down, come out, not a fingerprint. Governments know this. So when they know these type of things, why not control the politics and the energy? Why would I want all the masses to have this knowledge and be able to take us down, the 1%? Right. Why not keep the 99% down? You know what I mean? Right.
All right. So the elite, they doing magic. The aliens is above them. That's what I mean.
Of course.
That's what I have to assume. If we go,
who do you think? It's like this. It's like this. In dealing with Hollywood, let me break it down in the magic and the occult. When they sell their soul, what happens is they sell their soul to certain entities and energies that the powers that be work with or work for. And so even Lil Wayne, when he wrote the song "I Feel Like Dying," it wasn't him that wrote that song. If you deal with the Goetia or the Goetic magic or the lesser key of Solomon, out of there you have 72 angels and 72 demons that you can use for magic. It was Murmur and several of his minions that helped him write that song. That's why Lil Wayne can't speak on that song. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's hush, 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 hush. And whenever asked about that song, I Feel Like Dying, he don't like speaking on it. Every occultist is doing some type of magic in the industry. So what happens is, at first it was just rock and roll, but now they know that this power is so powerful. They say, okay, well, hip hop's it's the new rock and roll, so that's why they still do the backmasking. That's when they get these seasoned witches to come on full moons when we're not to cast spells on people that they couldn't cast before, because it's easier to do it when you have a mass of people that keep playing that song over and over and over again, and that song becomes a ritual. It becomes truth to over and over and over, and it puts you in a state of in a hypnotic state, to the point where if you're a low vibrational person and don't got a strong mind, it can put you in a sunken place. It could be a trigger to put you in a sunken place. That if you power has the music has the power to motivate, influence people. Straight out of company. Out of company. What you said, change that gangster shit. I want these niggas thinking about pussy, not pistols. So you gotta understand the science. I watch movies for the science.
Yeah.
I can care less about the
Okay.
entertainment. I want the science behind it. You see what I'm saying? He's basically told you that music is like water. It holds memory. Water holds memory. You speak life and positive in the water when it crystallizes. You'll see a beautiful crystallization. If you speak hatred or hate into it, it'll get ugly. You know what I mean? But yes, most definitely in in the industry, they're all doing magic. So what happens is when you sell your soul, you basically become the backseat recipient. And anybody in like mediumship or being a trans medium knows what I'm talking about. Whenever spirits overtake your body, sometimes they push you to the side and hop you out your body, but making sure that your cord doesn't get tethered and they kind of take over. If not, they'll shove you down and they're like the front seat driver. You're still manifesting the body, but they're the front seat driver in control. So even with Pimp C, if you watch that interview with Juicy J, when he was talking about how they did a ritual on him. When he went in there, they said it was candles around him. He was kneeling like he was praying. Remember he was 33 when they sacrificed him. So 33 is the highest degree of Freemasonry within the Scottish Rite, of Western Freemasonry. So you know what I'm saying? That was a powerful energy. They knew that he was a hip hop pillar, and the truth that he spoke, people would listen because he's going to expose some shit that we see now. We don't even care. Like Diddy, I don't even need a disclaimer. This dude Diddy boy is a gatekeeper. He took so many down allegedly. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous. But this is where we go when we speak of the people that's over the people in the industry, the powers that be, are these entities and energies. Where do you think they get it from? They're not the smartest people in the world. Everyone's working for something. There are higher forces and entities and energies that are on this plane of existence that we don't usually see. But you better believe they're behind the scenes making a lot of shit going on. But then at the same time, don't believe everything that you see on TV because it was on TV, it was put there for a reason. But once your third eye starts opening and you start getting that conscious awareness, you start seeing the fuckery being unveiled right before you.
And it's funny as fuck. When you start seeing it.
It really is. It really is. Think about it. Everything's a business. I can't remove the potholes from the streets because then Midas, Meineke, CarX don't have no money. You see what I'm saying? Do you know who invented the sucker? A dentist. A dentist will tell you, make sure you keep your teeth clean. And then after that, they'll hand you a damn sucker.
I can't pay my employee what he's worth because I'll be out of business.
Capitalism. It's a business. They don't care for your well-being. Think about it. A dentist will tell you, take care of your teeth, keep them clean, don't eat candy, nothing like that, and then hand you a fucking sucker. You bitch. You just clean my teeth, charge me all this goddamn money, and you think you hand me a sucker? You must think I'm a sucker, goddamn. You must think I'm a dum-dum from the bank. You know what I mean? So it's all a business. It's fuckery. It's all a business. It's all a business. I went about an hour and some change. Do you want me to stop?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Because truthfully, it really was to talk about the occult and magic and whatnot, and a little bit of paganism, but it's always good to expand on things like that.
You can't even let out. Yeah.
I apologize. I mean, but
the
thing is, though, I want to jump around, go crazy, be like, oh, he jumped from here to there. I want to make it make sense because all this shit's connected up. Yeah, Hitler might have been a lunatic, but he low key wasn't an intelligent lunatic. He knew a little more than people.